Welcome to Notions at Noon. I hope that you all are doing okay. 24 has different meanings. It has spiritual meanings. It has numerological meaning as well. It stands for and brings balance. It brings peace. And in order to have balance and peace, unfortunately, with the state of mankind, sometimes you have to disrupt the peace and you have to disturb the peace. So that can explain why we're going through a lot of the things that we're going through now, a lot of things that we're seeing now, and a lot of the uproar and wars and people just not feeling or seeming like they're content, because you must have this before you can have balance and peace. Cat Williams told us at the beginning of the year that this was going to be a year of exposure and truth. And he, quote unquote, he called it basically the reckoning. So this is the year of lies being uncovered and truths coming out. And we could see that with Puffy and politicians and a lot of people that have actually done wrong and have not been just a good upstanding person in mistreating people. We can see those things happening and turning around now, and them having to answer for their deeds. So if you're asking what's going on and why it's going on, you just have to remember where we are, and you have to look at things at a spiritual level. Sometimes you have to look beyond the surface value and the surface level of things. Why, on a deeper level, things are happening, and you have to look at when they're happening, because numbers matter and timing matters. Another thing I want to address is the storms. We've been having some storms. Sometimes the storms are hitting the same place twice, and we don't really know why. But in the South, you have to think about all the blood that has been shed. You have to think about all the land that's been stolen, and not just in the South, period, but just in the earth, in the land. You have to think about all the things that have been stolen. You have to think about all the people that have been displaced, all the indigenous people that have been unjustly unalived, and just things and resources just stolen from those people. And again, nature wants to always return itself to its natural state. So of course the earth is going to be in upheaval. It's going to be angry. It's going to be just fierce, and nature and the weather is just going to want to do its own thing, because it wants to return itself to its own state. We can't continue to tear things down, disrupt the earth, disrupt nature, tear it apart, build things on top of other things that shouldn't be built there, that is sacred ground, and then you think that the earth is just going to stay quiet and stay still forever. It doesn't work that way. If you all are coming in, I'm not talking about anything in particular today. I'm just talking about covering current events and a lot of things that's going on in the earth, and what the number 24 means, in the fact that we should really realize um, what these numbers mean, and the fact that these numbers do actually mean something. They're significant. The numbers and timing and what's going on in the earth is all playing together with the times. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the Trump election, and President Trump, or Donald Trump, and him having Elon Musk as his right hand man is no mistake. Everything works together for the good. So I know for certain groups of people, it may seem like a negative, but all things work together for good. And like I told you at the beginning, in order to get peace, you have to disturb the peace. And a lot of his cabinet appointees and things like that, just like the gentleman that wrote the 2025 or Project 2025, um, you know, thought packet, or whatever you want to call it. He wrote, and he was a part of writing Project 2025. Donald Trump appointed this gentleman a position in his cabinet. And if you remember during the election, Donald Trump said that he had no idea what 2025 was. And I made a video before and I said, you know what? These people are gaslighting us. And it wasn't just Donald Trump or Kamala. It was all of them. All of these politicians, they just flat out gaslight us. They tell us what they think we want to hear. And then when they get in the office, they hardly fulfill any of the promises that they made. So it's not just him, but I'm just bringing to the fact that these people blatantly lie in our faces and we just brush it off like there's just nothing to it. Now, he said he didn't know anything about 2025. He didn't know what Project 2025 is. And if you don't know what Project 2025 is, how do you go and appoint the president of the Heritage Foundation that wrote Project 2025 to your cabinet? You know, it's like, and nothing matters. The people don't care. If, you know, they just want who they want, you know, and you can't refute that. You know, logic doesn't matter, integrity doesn't matter, character doesn't matter. You know, it just is what it is, and it's going to be what it's going to be. I want to go and acknowledge you all. Hello, Damien Prison, Peace for Indigenous People. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. KJ20YS, hello, how are you? Jeet Theory, how are you? Where are you from? I'm from the United States. America should have learned that lesson earlier. I agree, Damien Brisson. The lesson's not going to be learned. It's not going to be. Gayat, hello, hello. Van, or yeah, I think that's how to pronounce your name, Van. Thank you all for tuning in. I really appreciate you spending your time with me. The next thing, if you all don't know who Shera Seven is, she's a very popular YouTuber and influencer, and she talks to women about leveling up, taking care of themselves, and getting the bag, basically. So there was a story about a young lady that follows Shera Seven and follows her advice, and she married up and practiced hypergamy, and the man that she married ended up, or she claimed that he was molesting her daughters. And somehow Shera Seven got blamed for this, and it didn't make any sense to me. How do you blame Shera Seven for someone following her advice about marrying up when you tell women to do better and to want better, but at the same time you blame them when things go wrong? And that's just life. Things are going to go wrong, and my heart goes out to those children. I hate the fact that what they've been through is being publicized, and I really don't know the truth about that story, because some are saying that her son was the one actually messing with the children, and she's saying it was her husband. So I don't know the truth, but either way, I hope that those babies get their justice and that they are protected. But it's just like blaming something on something that has nothing to do with the other. People are going to deviate, and you never know what you're going to get. People start out a certain way and then they end up another way, and you really never know someone, because people are capable of any and everything. Even you, even me, we're capable of any and everything, and all it takes is the right circumstances and situations. But another thing I wanted to address was the fact that I heard a story, and it said that 74% of homeowners are missing meals in order to pay their mortgage and to pay their rent. And I found that very heartbreaking. However, I did find it very understandable, and I can see that because of how the economy is and the prices, what people are paying for food. Food is outrageous, and living costs have definitely increased. So for 74% of homeowners and mortgage payers to be basically skipping meals in order to make sure that they can pay their mortgage, that should tell us all that we are actually in a recession. And it's a silent recession, because you don't hear many people saying we're in a recession. You don't even hear people, the news or anyone, saying we're in a recession, but we are. People can't afford the basic necessities, you know, and it's a little scary, and I don't understand why it isn't being talked about more. People are truly struggling, And I heard someone actually comment on that particular post about mortgage payers not being able to eat. And they said getting relationships. Well, relationships aren't even all that great right now because people are just, they're just on something else right now, and it's tough. You have people going their own way, you have men going their own way, women going their own way. So getting in a relationship just to be able to meet your financial needs is not even really an option right now, because there's a just disruption in relationships. There's a disruption everywhere. But again, going back to the beginning of my video, before you can have perfect peace, you have to have disruption, and you have to disturb the peace. So all of these rumblings and the back and forth and the wars and the anger and the battling, all of that is a precursor to coming into something beautiful, to coming into actual balance, and for coming into peace. And to add to that, I saw one young man's post, and he lived in the Bahamas, and he had a Debbie pie in his hand, right? One Debbie pie, not a box of Debbie pies, one Debbie pie. And on that Debbie pie was $1.50. Not for the whole box. For the little pies that come out of the box was $1.50. So that just shows you how much certain groups of people are being taken advantage of and continuously price gouged so that they can't even get ahead. And that's just heartbreaking, and it's really sad, and it's disgusting, actually. But the other thing I wanted to talk about is Bitcoin. If you haven't been paying attention to crypto or to Bitcoin, I suggest you do. That is the way of the world. That's where it's going. Paper currency we still have it. Yes, it's very present. However, digital money and plastic money, fiat money, whatever you want to call it, that's the way that we're going. If you're not already invested in Bitcoin, this is not financial advice. This is not financial advice. It's just the writing on the wall and what I can see. 2 years ago, Bitcoin was at $16,000. Today, Bitcoin is at $93,000 in 2 years. So Bitcoin, from what I can see, is probably the number one crypto. And there's some other major players as well. However, I'm just talking about Bitcoin. If you're not invested in it, you probably want to go and look into how it works and where you could go to invest in it. And don't miss the boat, because I don't see it going anywhere but up from here. And if you haven't already gotten into it, I don't think it's too late. You can still go ahead and do that. If you haven't gotten into some form or state of real estate, that's probably something you should look into too, because the cost of living is constantly increasing, and I don't really see that declining anytime soon either, because that's just the nature of real estate. It just continues to grow and increase in value over time. And not only do you need a place to stay, you want to build a legacy and financial stability for your family, and real estate is probably the number one way to go, because especially land, if you can get your hand on some land, that would be great too, because there isn't ever going to be any more land made. It's finite. Whatever we have is what we have. So get yourself a piece of it, find a way to make sure it stays in your family for a good amount of time, so that the family can profit off of it, and go from there. I understand things are very expensive right now, but don't let it stop you. Find a way to get your foot in the door however you can. Take advantage of your 401k to purchase whatever you need to purchase to be a good investment, and just go from there. Because back in the 80s, interest rates got up into the double digits, and it didn't stop people from buying, and now real estate is worth so much more. So don't let the current circumstances stop you, because there's still a future to behold, and there's still our descendants that we're going to want to take care of and provide for. So those were just a few things that I wanted to talk to you all about today with the current events and what's going on. I made this video yesterday, and I talked about a couple other points, but I ended up deleting that video by mistake. but I guess it just wasn't meant for me to post it. But here I am posting it today. I hope you all are blessed and you took something from this. Again, this wasn't about anything in particular. I was just talking about a number of things that were on my mind and going on in current events. So I just want to advise you all to pay attention, take care of yourselves, and invest. Take heed of what's going on spiritually, and truly pay attention, and continue to ask why, and to dig deeper, to investigate, to research, so that we can make life better, not just for ourselves, but for the future. You all be blessed.